This is the flag that never came down. This woman's son died in Iraq when he was only 19 years old, and ever since, she has raised the American flag every single morning, never letting it touch the ground. Even in storms, she makes sure the flag stays up because it represents freedom. But why does she keep it up? What was so special about this young soldier? You're about to find out. It all started in 2003 when America went to war in Iraq. Many families had sons and daughters who signed up to fight for their country. One of them was this woman from New Jersey. Her son, Christopher, always wanted to be a soldier. He loved his country more than anything else. So when he turned 18, he signed up and soon after went off to war. She was very worried about him, but Christopher would always reassure her by saying, "Don't worry, Mom, I'll be back before you know it. Just wait and see." But unfortunately, that wasn't meant to be. Shortly after he arrived in Iraq, he was hit by a roadside bomb while on patrol. It took a while for the news to reach his mother, but when they finally called her, she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her son had been killed in action. She was completely devastated. She still remembers how it felt like a piece of her soul had been ripped away. But even though she was in immense pain, she knew she had to stay strong for Christopher. He had given his life for his country, and she wanted to make sure that his sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. So she did something incredible. She refused to lower the American flag that flew from her son's bedroom window until he came home. At first, it was just a few days. But as weeks turned into months and then into years, she didn't stop. She didn't care what anyone else thought of her. She just knew that she wanted to honor her son in any way she could. And so, she kept raising that flag every morning until one day it became a local legend. Her neighbors started calling it the flag of forever. And eventually some TV stations picked up her story. They wanted to feature her on the local news for Memorial Day. For them, it was a great story that showed the true meaning of patriotism and sacrifice. And as her story spread, more and more people started to notice her house. They would drive by and see the American flag waving in the wind from Christopher's bedroom window. And they couldn't help but feel inspired by this woman's dedication to her son. Every morning, no matter what the weather was like outside, Mrs. Johnson would get up early, put on her son's dog tags, and head out to the porch. She would raise the flag high above her head and take a deep breath as she watched it flutter in the breeze. For her, it was more than just a symbol of freedom. It was a reminder of the ultimate sacrifice her son had made. He had given his life so that other people could live in freedom, and she wanted to make sure that everyone knew that. She would stand there for hours sometimes, talking to the flag as if it were her son. She would tell it all about her day and ask it to take care of him for her. And somehow it made her feel better, knowing that the flag was always there watching over them. When the local TV stations heard about her story, they were eager to interview her. They wanted to know what had inspired her to keep the flag flying for so long. But Mrs. Johnson was hesitant at first. She didn't want people to think she was crazy, or that she was just doing this for attention. But eventually she agreed, and that's when her story really started to spread. Everyone wanted to know about the woman who had kept the flag flying for over 16 years. They wanted to know about her son and the sacrifice he had made. And as more and more people learned about them, they began to understand the true meaning of patriotism. The day the TV stations came to film her, Mrs. Johnson was filled with a mix of emotions. On one hand, she was happy that her son's memory was being honored. But on the other hand, she was also scared. She didn't know what to expect or how people would react to her story. As the cameras rolled and the microphones were set up, she began to share her story with the world. She told them about Christopher and how much he loved America. She told them about the day she got the call that he had been killed and how she couldn't bring herself to lower the flag. She talked about how raising the flag every morning was the only thing that kept her going, and how she found comfort in knowing that he was always with her. As she spoke, tears streamed down her face, but she didn't care. She was too busy telling her son's story. When the interview was over, the TV stations aired it on the local news, and the next day, Mrs. Johnson's phone began to ring off the hook. People from all over the country were calling to thank her for her service and to tell her how much they appreciated her son's sacrifice. She was overwhelmed with the support and love that she received, but she knew that it was all because of Christopher. He was the real hero here, not her. All she had done was honor him in the best way she knew how. As time passed, the garden around the flagpole grew and flourished. It became a place where people could come and pay their respects to Christopher and all the other soldiers who had died in Iraq. It was a place where they could remember the ultimate sacrifice these brave men and women had made. One day, a reporter from one of the local TV stations visited her again. He wanted to know how she was doing and if she had any plans for the future. Mrs. Johnson told him that she was doing well and that she had no plans on stopping anytime soon. She was too busy honoring her son to think about retirement. She also told him that she was grateful for the support she had received from the community and that she knew Christopher would have been proud of her. The reporter smiled sadly and nodded his head in understanding. He knew that for Mrs. Johnson, this wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a way of life. As he got up to leave, he asked her one last question. "Do you think Christopher is proud of you?" Mrs. Johnson looked at him for a moment before answering softly, "I know he is." And that's when the reporter realized that this woman's story was more than just a local news piece. It was a story about the power of love and the strength of the human spirit. It was a story that needed to be told. He wrote down everything she had said and submitted it to his editor. Within a few days, her story was picked up by national media outlets, and soon the whole country knew about the woman who kept the flag flying for her son. Mrs. Johnson was once again interviewed by reporters and TV crews, but this time it was on a much bigger scale. She was contacted by producers from all over the country who wanted her to appear on their shows, but she politely declined every offer. She didn't want to become famous. She just wanted to honor her son. In the years since Christopher's death, Mrs. Johnson has continued to raise the flag every morning. She's now in her 70s, but she shows no signs of slowing down. She's too busy keeping her promise to her son. Every morning when the sun rises, she gets up and heads to the porch. She raises the flag high above her head and whispers a prayer for her son. She knows that he's watching over her, and that's what keeps her going. For Mrs. Johnson, this isn't just a symbolic gesture, it's a way of life. It's a way of honoring the memory of her son and all the other brave soldiers who have died in Iraq. It's a way of keeping their memory alive. If you're like most people, you probably don't think about the sacrifices that soldiers make every day. But for Mrs. Johnson, she remembers every day. She remembers the day her son was killed, the day she promised to honor him, and the day she kept that promise. Have you ever seen a flag that never came down? Every morning this elderly woman gets up, raises the flag and pins it to the wall. But why? Let me tell you, this is a true story. In a small town in New Jersey lived a woman with her son. They were very close. The son was only 19 years old when he died. He was serving in Iraq as a soldier in the army. His mother cried for weeks. She missed her son terribly. Then one day she had an idea. She went out and bought a brand new American flag. Then she planted a flagpole in the garden. Every morning at 8 a.m. sharp, she would raise the flag up high. She did this every single day. At first, the neighbors thought it was weird, but they soon got used to it. But there was one thing that really puzzled them. She never let the flag touch the ground. No matter what, she always kept it up, no matter how bad the storm was. If the wind was too strong, she would hold the flag tight. Sometimes the flag would get ripped to shreds, so she would buy a new one and keep raising it every morning. One day, one of the neighbors finally worked up the courage to ask her, "Why do you keep raising the flag?" The woman turned to him with tears in her eyes. "Because I made a promise to my son," she said. "I never break my promises." When her son was deployed, he told her, "Mom, when I die, please don't be sad. Just raise the flag to full staff and keep it raised in my honor." So that's what she did. She raised the flag every morning until sunset. The neighbor was moved to tears and apologized for not understanding. From that day on, they all called it the flag of forever. A few years passed. The woman grew older, but she still raised the flag every morning. One day, a local TV station heard about her and sent a crew to interview her. It was almost Memorial Day, and they wanted to cover her story. When they arrived, they saw a beautiful garden around the flagpole. There were flowers everywhere. It was clear that the woman had put a lot of effort into it. The reporter approached her and introduced himself. "I'm here from Channel 7 News. We heard about you and wanted to interview you for our Memorial Day special." "Oh, okay," she said. She was a bit nervous, but the reporter was very kind, so she agreed. He asked her why she kept the flag raised and why she never let it touch the ground. She wiped a tear from her eye and said, "Because I never break my promises." The reporter was deeply moved by her story. He then asked her, "What would you like to say to your son if you could speak to him right now?" She closed her eyes, smiled and said, "I'm proud of you. You are a hero. Thank you for your service." As the camera panned away, we could see the American flag waving gently in the wind. It was a beautiful sight that would stay with us forever. After the TV station aired her story, People from all over the country sent her letters and gifts. She was very touched by the support, but she remained humble. She knew that the real hero was her son. She continued to raise the flag every morning until one day she passed away peacefully in her sleep. When the soldiers came to her house to pick up her son's belongings, they noticed that she still had her son's dog tag around her neck. It was a touching reminder of the bond that they shared. To this day, the people who live on her street continue to take care of the flag in the garden. It's a place where people come to remember the ultimate sacrifice that so many have made for our country. So next time you see an American flag waving in the wind, take a moment to remember those who have died defending our freedom. And never forget the brave soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice. If you enjoyed this touching story, please share it with your friends and family. Your support means everything to us. Together, we can continue to spread these heartwarming stories and make a difference in the world. Thanks for watching.